I'm super excited for my next guest. You know her as Ice, and her name is Amanda, and she was on Flavor of Love Season 3. She was also on I Love Money Season 2. Please welcome Ice. Hey girl, how are you? Nice to see you.
Yes, you too. It's so crazy. And I don't know if you feel the same way, but like watching you on TV and then like now we're like talking. It's so cool that we can connect because of something we both had in common, which was being on reality television.
Totally. I completely agree with you. And it's really crazy for me because when I started out doing this podcast, I was primarily interviewing the Rock of Love girls. So it was just, interviewing my friends and peers and stuff like that. But then now, because I watched Flavor of Love and all of those shows, now when I get to interview you guys, it's like I get to be the fangirl. So it's like really cool for me as well.
Yes, I love it. Well, nice to meet you. And thank you for having me on. I'm stoked.
You're so welcome. Very nice to meet you too. And I appreciate you coming on. And one thing that I think is really admirable and really cool that you're working on, you're doing something having to do with suicide awareness. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm always just trying to be an advocate for, like you said, happiness. It's a choice. And just like suicide prevention and just like doing what's best for you and your mental health. And being on the radio, especially during a time like this, like I feel it's more important now than ever. And especially you, like using your platform and using your voice and using who you are as a person to just talk about things. And that's the most important thing, is having a conversation. And September is National Suicide Awareness Month and prevention. And I'm partnering with AFSP, the Oregon chapter. And basically, we're talking about it and we're putting it out there. And there's going to be, obviously, with the pandemic, we're not going to have a walk like we did last year, but we are going to have an Out of the Darkness experience. That's all going to be virtual. And so like everybody's encouraged to join. And if you feel like you want to share your story to kind of help influence somebody else who may not want to share their story just yet, influence them to talk and kind of figure out how to kind of like navigate through it and talk about it and live through it eventually. So that's the goal. And, I'm definitely proud to do it and I'm glad to do it. And, being in radio, I've met so many interesting people in my life. And the only thing I just want people to be happy. I just want people to just do what you love, man. And if you got to go through some shit, go through some shit. But don't be ashamed to talk about it. And don't be ashamed to, be you. And ask for help if you need it. And so that's kind of what we're doing right now. But yeah, it's been a wild ride out here. It's been crazy.
Wow. Well, good for you. I think that's amazing that you were involved in that. Very admirable. I think it's a really great thing. I know I told you over the phone when we were chatting the other day that I lost my mom to suicide. And it was something I just did not talk about for the longest time, but it was very, very, very devastating to my psyche. And it was incredibly traumatic. And it took years to get past it. And, and literally, it's been like 14 years and I'm just now even being open about it publicly. Like I would talk to a couple of friends about it, but I wouldn't even post about it on Facebook. And every time it got to, this is what's really crazy. Every time it got to any kind of like suicide awareness cause that I was learning about, I actually it made me really upset. I couldn't even look at it from like an advocacy perspective because I was just so traumatized by it. But now that, I'm starting to speak out about it, it's really good, these kinds of things, because when it happened in my life, I know I felt very alone because I didn't really know anybody else who had lost someone to suicide. I didn't think anybody would understand. I didn't know how to even express how I felt about it, because it was like my mom was the one who lost her life, and it was very sad for my mom. And I felt like I was, in a weird way, I was being like selfish for like making it about me and what it did to me,
Yeah.
But God, it's like still upset. See, it's been 14 years. I still get upset. It's hardcore.
Yeah.
But anyway, my point being is that people like you are amazing and great because it allows people to understand that they're not alone, whether they are the person who is feeling suicidal or if it's somebody who has lost someone to suicide or is fearful they're going to lose someone to suicide. What you're doing is showing people that they are not alone. There is help. There are resources that they can turn to. So I really appreciate you for this.
Thank you. And I appreciate you and I respect you for being able to now, talk about it and kind of live through it and do what you feel you need to do to kind of help yourself to, deal with it. And I think that's great. And I think, anybody should just be open to the idea of at least just having a conversation with somebody. And if I can be that for somebody, please reach out to me. You could find me at Dude It's Ice on any social network. You could just Google me and probably find me. And I'm sure you feel the same way, Lacey. Like, it's super important. And it's like I said, especially now more than ever, it's just like, yeah,